Hey, all my Scorpio friends, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Teri Hunter. I'm an intuitive astrologer, and I'm here today with your February 2024 monthly horoscope. These horoscopes are based on whole sign Western astrology. So the wheel is based on Scorpio rising. If you don't know your rising sign, please go to one of the free birth calculators on the internet. You just need your exact time of birth and location in order to determine that information. This is also based on the Pacific time zone. So if you're somewhere else, please adjust for your location. And real quickly, I'm going to say that the wheel will change as I go through the month. It's the chart of the day, so you won't always see the rising sign. So when I talk about the house, I'm going to talk about it based on Scorpio rising. All right, we jump in with the month starting with this Mercury is in square to Eris here in Aries, exact. And this is where Mercury is, really in Capricorn, thinking about, the rules, the regulations, what is expected, where am I going to be disciplined in, my actions because they represent leadership. But there's also been this theme of individualizing yourself, of Scorpio birthing a version of themselves that is renovated, new, allowing your personal interests, your personal pleasures, your personal career goals to be a priority. I want to say this Capricorn energy is technically in your third house. We watched in the first January, we saw Mars and Mercury traversing your second house of money, of family history, of how you value yourself, your skills, and how you birth them out into the world. Sagittarius is a very broad and expansive energy. It's very diverse. And it also includes some points that allowed for, when I say some points, I'm talking specifically about the great attractor and the galactic center. So as Mercury was retrograding at the end of 2023, you were able to garnish information and have inspirations and potentially pop up with ideas and solutions. And as Mercury and Mars have been moving through Capricorn, and Venus is there now as well, this is about building in the material world. And there could potentially be, with that square to Eris, a real need to have to stand up for yourself within your own emotional body, spiritual body, what you know about yourself in relation to what is been expected of you. Also, the third house represents our thoughts, our speech, our neighborhoods, our emails, our sidewalks, our roadways. It's traditionally Gemini. Now we're superimposing that Capricorn energy for you. And so there may be a sense of duty and responsibility to your everyday activities that conflicts with your own individuality. But at the same time, I think this is important. The Aries is your sixth house of work. And so as you allow for this, I guess I want to call it a building. I feel as if throughout 2024, Scorpio is going to be sort of building one brick after another in order to reshape their life in a much more way that's more favorable to their pocketbook as well as their emotional body. Scorpio rules other people's money. So there's the potential of clients and people investing in you. If you work with finance, you could do well with being innovative in how you are advising your clients. The United States is going to probably go through a little bit of a challenge financially when we see Pluto move into Aquarius, but that doesn't mean that individuals can't thrive within an environment. So I think a lot of this is going to have to do with being innovative and being pioneering within your work sector. It may also have to do with how you take care of your body. The sixth house traditionally rules our everyday activities. It's ruled by Mercury. We see Mercury here in Capricorn. And again, Capricorn is your third house. So this is also where we see siblings, workmates, teammates, and people may rustle up against your ideas. And at the same time, if you're giving great ideas away to a company and you could use them as an individual, as an entrepreneur, as someone stepping out in their own, I'd really think about that a couple times if I were you. All right, here, let's look at Mars. Mars is making a wonderful trine to Uranus at the beginning of the month. And this really, again, Uranus is in Taurus. Uranus rules unexpected things. It rules Aquarius by nature. It has an innovation, an unexpected innovation. Lightning strikes, but it also strikes with ideas. So I think that here we see this this trine to both Mars and Mercury, and there could be these ideas that you have that just make your dreams, your hopes, what you want to live in the way of your work life, how you want your everyday to be. It may just give you a little bit of rebellious nature. And I personally birthed my own business out of an unexpected upset. So this square may create the upset, and this trine could support your birthing yourself. I also want to say that, here is Venus, and she is making this trine to Jupiter on the first day of the month. So again, we're capitalizing on the energies from January and further expanding ourselves and our ability to wrap our head around the idea that as we step out into what would appear to be foreign territory, there is a good possibility that we will find benefit and we will find material resources to support us. And I can't help but again talk about the square to the south node. And here we see Mars is making a square to both the nodes. So there's a tension between individualizing and what is expected in our way of creating harmony for others, peace for others. Libra is your 12th house. So this could be something that sort of creeps up on you in a way that you don't get it in your face that you're not being cooperative from other people, but you may sense that people are I want to offer it this way because I don't want to make it seem too disruptive as much as I want to make it seem like there's going to be sort of this polarization, I think, in 2024 of people who are willing to step out into the desert of their dreams and sort of endure that mirage, that, that period of dryness, and people who just tuck under what has been and want that to stay safe and secure. And at the same time, I don't know that it's going to stay safe and secure. So this South Node going through Libra is about peace, harmony, cooperation, diplomacy, civility. And I just feel like this point of erosion, this South Node can be a point of erosion. So while this is in your 12th house, it may represent that people don't see your innovative spark at this moment, but I would not be disheartened. I would persevere because I think they'll very much be inspired by things as you move forward. The Scorpio energy is so powerful and so rich in its transformational vibration. It's very scary in its lower vibration because it's very kind of dark. It rules toxicity. Pluto rules the anus and where we release we release things. I don't need to go into that a little bit more. Let's move on to the 5th, where Mars will leave its let's go to the 5th, where Mercury will join Pluto in conjunction. Hold on, sorry. Doing two things at once, it's very exciting. So Pluto is now at the 0 degree of Aquarius, and Mercury has joined Pluto. Could this be disruption, arguments, sibling rivalries showing back up? Yes, it could be. But I truly believe that people that listen to the kind of material that I produce are people who are seeking co-creation in their lives, and through their awarenesses they have choices. So all the information that had been garnished from the time that Mercury and Mars went through Scorpio and Sagittarius in 2023 is now being rooted in the material world. And even though Aquarius is your 4th house of home, and this may be a bit of a disruption, I also think that there's a liberating factor to it. we see here Mars is at 24 degrees of Capricorn, and Mars is still making this trine to Uranus, but so is Venus. And I think this is where there's a feeling of my self-worth, of me being able to create resources, of me sort of getting myself. I also think that Mars's sextile to Neptune here is making me brave about what I want to birth in the way of my own creativity. And I don't think creativity is just, painting and acting. I think you can be creative with finances. You can be creative in all sorts of things that people don't necessarily, in engineering, in all sorts of things that people don't traditionally immediately identify in the keywords of creativity. So now I think this is important. Now we have, so there's Pluto and Mercury having sort of this, wow, we're birthing new thoughts. We're making sense of the things that have happened that may appear dark in our lives. We're starting to be able to carve that into a tool to move our story forward. And on the 9th, we will see a new moon in Aquarius. And this is, I believe, the 4th new moon. Let me change the time. It will happen at 2:59 p.m. Pacific time. And this is where we see the 4th new moon at the 20th degree of Scorpio. That is your degree. Now, Scorpio has the 8th degree. It also has the 20th degree. The 20th degree is an evolved version of Scorpio. There's more awareness here. We're looking at more transformation. We're birthing something new here in the sign of liberation, Aquarius. Again, you being able to birth a whole new home environment. And I want to say it this way because home is really, we refer to the 4th house as property, the home we grew up in, the mother, so there could be in some ways a liberation from the maternal energy. If there was issues there can also be a whole new, depending upon your age, Scorpio, you could be becoming a mother. You could be becoming a parent if you're a male. There could be something that very much transforms in a way that's wonderful, not necessarily always pulling the rug out from underneath us. I've observed quite a few transits from some of the stars. Gwen Stefani, even Taylor Swift had some transits with Pluto that caused disruption, but that disruption ultimately led to more balance and to a happier life. So just want to put that out there. So here we really want to plant the seeds for what it is you want to experience. And now we're seeing a trine with the South Node. And to me, this harmonious aspect is bringing some sort of divinity into what I have decided I want for myself, and that it really is helping on a bigger picture. Aquarius rules the cosmic consciousness. It rules space. It rules the World Wide Web. It rules your nervous system. You may even find yourself, realizing some things that, if indeed you felt some anxiety, it could be because you weren't following your heart. You were following what was expected of you or the agenda that had been given to you as a child. And now you're starting to rewrite that, because we see again this, we see Uranus in play here, but now there's a square. And when we look at the Taurus energy, we're looking at your partnership. This is actually, the new moon in Aquarius is making actually, it would be making an opposition. No, your Leo is it's making a square. I'm sorry. Got myself confused for a minute, but I want to offer it this way because this Uranus transiting through Taurus has been slowly but unexpectedly and in many ways without a lot of emotion been disrupting some of the stories where we disempower ourselves, where we give our power away, making money. And we may even make good money, but the money is, somebody else's agenda. So here we're going to really see some sort of epiphany and awareness. And I tend to think that it could break up an old story or give you a lightning strike that says, oh, this is how I make that old story work for me. One of my favorite sayings is, the dark spots can make the color in your life pop. All right, so let's go back to the 12 p.m. time because that's a pretty standard way to look at the chart. And we're going to go to the 13th. This is where Mars, let me take this off there. This is where Mars is going to meet with Pluto. Now, Pluto and Mars are co-rulers of Scorpio. And while many people think that these planets are extremely difficult, I think they're difficult when you want to hide behind the human structure. You know, Mars requires bravery. Pluto's going to remove the toxic energy in your life. And together, here at this 0 degree, they're birthing something. And I think that birth is really, again, this sort of a version of yourself that plays closer to your hopes and your dreams. Pardon me. And I think that's a very powerful energy. We also see Venus coming into a conjunction with Pluto as well. And, you know, some people could say this is the death of my money, and other people could say this is the rebirth of my money. I find that, you know, there's a lot of astrologers on YouTube, but people tend to gravitate to people they resonate with. So you can't really judge who will and who will not resonate with you. And that's the wonderful thing about diversity and about having these technological advances and the ones coming up that Aquarius represents. So don't be afraid of the Pluto-Mars conjunction. Your awareness can keep the dark side to a minimum and allow the higher vibrations to step up. Okay. Let's move on. We see on the 16th is when we will see Venus have her conjunction. And I think this is, again, a very powerful time because Mars is still very much in play here. So this feels very much like bravery, maybe even an upset that creates an opportunity to, I shouldn't say an opportunity. It almost feels as if there's a moment where you're just like, you know what? I can't do this anymore, so I'm going to do me. And this could be, again, a mental process. You know, here's my self-worth, here's my bravery, and here's my willingness to let something die that isn't working for me. And I can't help but think if this is in your 4th house, it's wherever you are holding yourself back from, you know, exploring new parts of yourself. If you are, you know, in your midlife, the 4th house will in many ways represent your childhood upbringing, how you were raised, how your mom interacted with you. And by nature, the Aquarian energy is there's going to be something unusual about the home environment. It doesn't have to be negative, but there could be a real pop in some way for you, where again, you're not releasing anything, but carving it into a more functional tool so you can move your story forward. I also think that what comes up could be unexpected. You know, I mean, of course, here we are with what we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 planets in Aquarius. We could see a lot of things happening on the world stage. We could see things happening within the economy on the world stage. We could see a rise in Bitcoin. We could see a drop in it. We've got Mercury making a square to Uranus, which might be a bit challenging. But again, this could be, you know, Mercury is little bits of information, and Uranus is, you know, lightning strikes. And there could be where Mercury is being tasked here not to take things just on first face value, but to dig a little bit deeper or to look more broadly, you know, considering a bigger picture of things and just Mercury's own personal interest. It also could indicate something to do with your siblings, very much so. It could indicate an argument straight up, could be a brother and sister, but it could also indicate having the wherewithal to know that someone isn't going to change, and rather than trying to bang your head against a wall, you just sort of, you know, side shuffle to the left and move on. We see a nice aspect here with Saturn and with Jupiter. Now, Saturn here up in Pisces, and Pisces is your 5th house of creativity, of children, the conception of children, of high school children, of entertainment, fun, joy, pleasure, the clown, the performer, the child. And it's making a sextile to Taurus, which is your 7th house. And I think this is really where Saturn here feels, well, Saturn's gotten used to being in Pisces. And here I feel like Saturn is putting or asking me to put structure into my spiritual beliefs. And my spiritual beliefs are based on the divine laws of the universe that know that this is a universe of attraction. And I can't help but go back to Mercury's retrograde over the galactic center, over the great attractor, and reference the Shapley cluster. And that is a cluster that is literally pulling galaxies towards it. So here, this is about really putting structure into your transformation. Here's Saturn at the 8th degree. And here is a sextile to Jupiter at the 9th degree of Taurus, which to me is lovely because this is the Sagittarian degree. My beliefs are anchoring a little bit. I'm starting to make sense of my feelings of self-worth. I'm trusting myself a little bit more. And Jupiter again represents business, commerce, and you could find yourself through what you've been working on for the last few months, finding a little traction going on here. And I think that's really exciting. All right, let's go on to the 18th when the sun enters Pisces. Now, as the sun enters Pisces, it's going to join Saturn. And, when the sun is in Pisces, it's kind of interesting because the sun rules the zodiac. It wants to stand out loud. And here it is in what is the natural 12th house of the unseen. And I think this is a little bit where there could potentially be a time, because Pisces is your 5th house, where you're working creatively and you might be spending time alone, or even, researching more about what you want to endeavor moving forward. The sun clearly will move into Pisces a little later into the day, but as it moves towards this point, I think you might find yourself enjoying that time. You might even find yourself wanting to connect, meditate and things like that. But more so, it feels like the 5th house is going to be spending time working on creative endeavors. And some of those endeavors just may be things you do on your own. And we also see we're still experiencing this conjunction between, Venus has moved over Pluto now, but 0 to 4, we're very much still birthing a new part of ourselves. We're very much reevaluating other people's opinions of ourselves. I got to tell you this too, Scorpio. One of the greatest things you can do is have trolls and people who jeer you, because when you have people who actually bitch about you and complain about you or don't like your content, then that means you're getting somewhere. If it's just all friends and family, it's wonderful to have all the love, but sometimes love comes in the form of something that might feel initially critical, but it knows you're reaching an audience, because that's what we want is diversity, right? People to be able to share their opinions constructively. I also want to note that towards the end of the month, this Mars and Venus will be conjunct at 5 degrees, but we'll get there in just a minute. Well, actually, we're going to go there right now. On the 20th, we'll see that happen. So here we see this. Now, this is the Leo degree. That Leo degree is about leadership. It's about the 5th house again, which is your house of Pisces, where the sun has moved into, where Saturn is asking you to put in disciplined action, to have endurance, to persevere through your fears, which I think, Scorpio, you can do. I think that when you harness your power, you really are like, I think maybe Scorpio is the most powerful sign of the whole zodiac, but that's my personal opinion. But on this day, I think this is a powerful time to feel a synergy between this action and receptivity, and trusting that the universe is providing divine inspirations that will allow you a little bit more of a physical experience of what you're creating. I think it's, again, we still have a loose energy here to Jupiter. So we're still working on our beliefs. We're still expanding. We're still, Jupiter, it's interesting to me because Jupiter also rules money. So money may be a little bit funky at this time, but I want to offer it this way. If the resources haven't showed up, just continue to hold your focus in that the universe will deliver all the things that you need to move your story forward. All right, now on the 23rd, we will see this conjunction, by the way, will last 2 days from the 20th through the 22nd of February. On the 23rd, Mercury will enter enter Pisces. Here, this is where we get imaginative. This is where Mercury normally is, Mercury has no moons. Mercury is fun and fun to be around. Mercury's a little bit of the trickster. But here, Mercury is dreamy. I think Mercury has thoughts that are a little bit more, we could take the dark side and want to escape, but at the same time, I think this is where we see compassion, and where we see this more feeling of the artist, the poet, the dancer, the photographer, the filmographer. And as we see this growing conjunction between the Sun and Mercury and Saturn, this is really about anchoring in your everyday activities, taking a little time every day to spend, I would say, tending and nurturing your dreams, your creativity, even your spiritual practice, really making meditation an important part of your daily practice. And if you can't do it daily, weekly, I think that's important. But having Pisces be your 5th house of creativity, of childbearing, conceiving children, of romance, it could make this for a very dreamy time. It could even, in some ways, potentially bring a child, as you have been willing to endure and continue to have faith. I tell many people that are wanting to have children from childbearing years that the transits have been so tough that some souls are sort of waiting for this Pluto entry into Aquarius before they decide to incarnate. So you could inadvertently, who knows, you could make a baby. Here we see Venus and Mars at 8 degrees. And I think that, don't be surprised. There's the man and the woman, and while they're squaring Jupiter, this could expand an unexpected, conception of some kind. I know this is your 4th house, but this is your 5th house too. So the combination kind of makes me think, if at all you have been talking about at some point you want to, you never know, it might just pop up unexpectedly. All right, let's go to the 24th, the next day, where we're going to have a full moon in Virgo at 4:30 a.m. Pacific time. And this is at the 5th degree, which we had this last month. We had a full moon in Leo, and it was at the 5th degree. So here, again, we're having this Leo degree, this theme. And a full moon is always where we have the fullest phase of the moon, where there's some sort of conclusion, something comes to light. We're able to sort of even garnish the end of one chapter and start another. So it could illuminate something that is, I want to almost build upon it, as if it's not the culmination, like the end of something, but maybe like a book. It's the end of one chapter and the beginning of another chapter. During this time of the full moon, we see Mercury at 2 degrees in Pisces. We see Saturn here at 9 degrees. And this could very much illuminate, either it could be a person, Mercury, absolutely. It could be your neighborhood. It could be communications, but it could also be the way you think, the way you speak, the way you imagine your own creativity birthing, and that, or romance. Very much it could be about romance. It could be about love and how you're viewing love. And Saturn is asking you to step outside of your fears and realize that you're co-creating with someone else, and maybe they weren't ready, and now the timing is starting to be right. There's an illumination of some kind in your personal participation in what you've been experiencing. And if you've been experiencing something from a lack or scarcity, then I think that will be illuminated in this full moon. The ruler of the full moon is conjunct the sun. Mercury rules the full moon. So I think that's real important and powerful. Let's go now to the last day of the month. And this year it's going to be the 29th. We have a leap year. That's fun. Let me just change this back to 12 o'clock. And the month rounds out with, we see this continuing conjunction. Now the sun has moved past Saturn, and Mercury has as well, and they're heading towards Neptune. So again, I think, the discipline, the continued effort, the awareness of your own fears and willingness to walk through them will support as we see the sun and Mercury become closer and closer to Neptune, the dreamy ruler of this house. And this could truly bring in what I believe is a sense of compassion for the journey you've been on, and now a sense of hope and faith that you're moving in the right direction. We see a slow moving Pluto's finally got to 1 degree. And we see that Venus and Mars are starting to separate, but they're still in conversation, and they're still squaring now both Uranus and Jupiter. So if there's any residual holding yourself back, you may experience a little bit of disruption, but I always think that a little bit of disruption gives me the courage as I overcome that disruption to know that if there's another one, I can overcome there as well. So as each month progresses, we're going to have more and more opportunities to birth new and more aligned versions of our truth, our happiness, and our prosperity. So Scorpio, thank you for joining me for your February 2024 monthly horoscope. I hope you like these. I hope you share. Please hit that notification bell, subscribe, and join me Sunday mornings live at 11 a.m. Pacific time, where we pull a tarot card and we do an angel reading, and we get the angel's advice for traversing the transits for the week ahead. Thank you so much again. My name is Teri Hunter, and sending you love and peace. Bye-bye.